There's nothing worse than a gopher hunt station. If only we can make these gophers go far away.
In this video, we will talk about gophers as a species, including their biology, their lifestyle habits, and then we will go into depth regarding the damage they cause to human property and some management tactics that can be used to help abate some of these nasty nuisances.
To properly understand this foul beast, we need to understand its taxonomical family tree.
Let's get scientific! Kingdom,
Animalia, phylum,
Chordata, class,
Mammalia, order,
Rodentia, family,
Geomyidae, genus,
Thermomus, species,
Thermomus botae. Some of you might be curious about this pesky little critter's anatomy. What, might you ask yourself, makes this gopher different from other gophers, or rodents in general? To answer these reasonable questions, let's pass the baton over to Dr. Elijah.
Dr. Elijah is not a licensed medical professional.
This is called the pocket gopher due to its fur-lined cheek pockets, as you can see here. They have adapted to live in wet soil, and have large front teeth to help dig through this dense soil, but not eat the dirt along the way. Special whiskers are utilized to help navigate through dark tunnels and at night. They also use their tails to reverse through the tunnel. It basically acts as rear whiskers.
Alright, I'll take it from here. In terms of feeding, pocket gophers are nocturnal grazers, meaning they eat only during the day.
At night, you ding-dong! Pocket gophers are herbivores, and will poke their head out of their tunnel to feed on nearby plants and vegetation. These rodents are frisky little fellas. Reproduction-wise, pocket gophers will have anywhere from 3 to 5 litters per year, with 2 to 10 young per litter. They have an 18-day gestation period, weaned in 5 to 8 weeks. Once born, the mother drives off her young and dispersal begins. Baby pocket gophers will move anywhere from 3 to 400 feet away from the burrow to start their own journey in this big, big world.
Now that you've learned a little bit about these guys' eating habits, you might learn a little bit about where they live.
What's their address?
What kind of property taxes are they paying?
Do they have a mortgage?
Are they members of the Neighborhood Homeowners Association?
Actually, they don't live in houses, you
I can't believe you fell for our ruse there!
Gophers live outside because they're rodents.
Their natural habitats are typically grassy fields and hillsides. They can be found across most of the northern hemisphere, so you never escape unless you flee south!
They're fairly formidable little creatures, so they make their home in any place that doesn't have too many woody plants. Those more hefty plant species would cause trouble for the little gophmeisters because they can't construct their tunnels as easily. Now we're gonna throw this thing over to Professor Owen to discuss the behavior of these gophers. Owen has not received his teaching credential and is not allowed within half a mile of an elementary school.
Well, hello, Mr. and Mrs. Gopher. Thank you so much for coming to this parent-teacher conference today. I'd like to discuss the behavior of your gopher son with a pair of you. I noticed that your son, little Gopher Timmy, is a solitary creature, placing his nest within his burrows and creating water sumps to avoid flooding in his tunnel. That would be a problem here in gopher school. This is very common amongst behaviors for gophers. The only issue is that your son is very territorial. He fights any other gopher to the death if they are caged together. I understand this is a trait possessed by every gopher, but I can't have this in my classroom. His gopher behavior has been causing problems for him socially too, because the gophers only congregate together during breeding season, which is normal for gophers, but it's not appropriate here, man.
But how do you know if these spies are around, causing trouble? Well, let's learn how to identify these little stinkers. When a gopher's tunnel breaches the surface, or they begin digging a new tunnel, there's a small amount of dirt that shows where the hole was dug. These piles of dirt can convey a great deal of information about the shape of their tunnels. Their piles typically form a crescent shape, just like the moon in the DreamWorks logo. The edges of this crescent are always pointed in the direction in which the hole was dug.
Now imagine the kid with the fishing rod and the DreamWorks logo again. Which way was he facing? That's the direction in which the tunnel goes. These tunnels are inactive, like the DreamWorks studios once coronavirus pandemic hit America. Gophers begin to plug out the entrances. You can tell which plugs are recent because of the soil that was used is typically darker in color than the older varieties. If you see a hole with dark brown sludge plugging up the hole, you know there's a gopher afoot.
Now it's time for the meat and potatoes of this educational documentary. In this section, we will define the types of damage and associated costs that come with gophers being annoying little boogers in your backyard, local park, farm, or other natural open space.
First thing you'll notice is the absolute mess they leave when they dig their tunnels. You'll know you're in gopher territory when you see mounds of dirt scattered across the lawn. Gophers tend to destroy mostly woody, bulbous, or annual plant roots through tunneling. And worse yet, they will chew through underground utility cables and irrigation systems.
Any sort of rangeland or agricultural cropland can be severely reduced in quality with their extensive tunneling. Being herbivores, they are known to feed on certain crops, which just adds to the damage they have already made through their burrows. Time to call pest control. These critters are getting out of hand. How do we manage these things?
Being that gophers are legally classified as non-game, you can kill them at any time in any legal manner. Exclusion is a good strategy. It works for high and low density populations. For this, you use above ground barriers to slow invasion. Furthermore, trenches can also be used as barriers if they are deep enough, at least 2 feet deep. Wire baskets made of aviary wire can be placed around roots of fragile plants and trees, with the wire being at least 2 feet below and 6 to 12 inches above a garden bed. Say grandma's petunias!
Toxic baits are generally used when you have a high density gopher population, with zinc phosphide being the most active ingredient in tunnel baits. Fumigants are generally not as effective, and neither are repellents, noisemakers, tunnel flooding, or burrow destruction. However, if you have an army of hungry coyotes or cats, you'll get these predators' mouths watering if you release them in a high density gopher area.
Trapping, usually for small-scale operations, can reduce populations pretty efficiently with state-of-the-art technology such as the cinch, black box, Maccabee, or the gopher mitter. Your leads will want to focus in on one area at a time.
Hey Owen, what do you call a dead gopher?
Just fur, it doesn't go anymore.
As the honorable apprentices of Dr. Hedrick himself and the studious pupils of APES 327, Vertebrate Pest Management, at the renowned University of Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, we believe the most reasonable approach to gopher management would be exclusion or trapping.
Exclusion doesn't kill the gophers, but rather keeps them out of a given area. It is highly effective for high and low population densities, and is one of the cheapest and least time-consuming options too. All you need is wiring and a shovel. You don't need to regularly check on traps or set out bait.
Trapping would be the next best option because it is very effective. However, purchasing the traps can get expensive over time, especially if you are dealing with a high-density gopher population. Always remember to eliminate all gophers in each area before going on to the next, and that gophers repopulate very quickly.
Happy hunting!